we go again. Hey everybody, guess what? It's us again. It's your favorite dads. Here we are. Here we are again. Your dads. It's your two dads. It's
Yep.
your two virtual dads.
Your two virtual dads.
Yeah, buddy. It's me, Corey. Your dad number one, and we over here we got
Dan on dad number two.
on dad number two, dad number one, and dad number two. I'm always on the lookout for crazy merchandising ideas. I'm going to be making shirts for the other. I'm going to make shirts, and I want to look for like what do we call it? Parenthood ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want like stuff like that.
Parenthood ship.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Dr. Seuss had thing one and thing two. We could be dad one and dad two.
Yeah, well, and there's a couple of like at one time I call us in one description I'm like your favorite digital daddies, and then there was like another one that I don't remember because I smoke probably too much weed. But it was good too. It was so good that I was like that one's trademarked, and I was like I'm just kidding. It's for you. You can have that. You make money off of that. That's my gift.
Wow, how nice of you.
Yeah, because I'm a great guy. But anything that we can do to broaden our I guess not appeal, but like broaden our audience.
Yes.
And have people come in. And
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, like when they see the shirt, you want them to be like, "Oh, that's a cool shirt. What's that from?" And then
boom.
Yeah, boom. That's it. You hooked them like a fish.
Yep.
And they can't, it's like you're a drug now.
And like they say, the rest is history.
Yeah. And hopefully with us coming out every week now, woot woot, yeah. With that happening, we will, gain those fans that maybe wouldn't have given us a chance if it was like an every other week thing.
Right.
That's that's a problem for me when I'm listening to podcasts. I'm like, why can't you come out more often?
Yeah.
What you got like so much going on that you can't like record a couple episodes at one time, and, and give me something extra. I followed your podcast. I listen. What more do you want? Give me something.
Yeah.
So I forgot where I was going with that, but
there's one we listen to, man. We talk about it all the time. I don't see how they do it 4 days a week for 4 hours a day.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I don't want to like put their name out there because they're not a sponsor of the show.
No,
but yeah, like they do got my respect. It's we were sitting here right before we started recording, and we're like, oh, what are we talking about for the second half? Like, what's because it's surprise. Like, I don't know. It's not like Santa's fake or nothing, but we record 2 at a time. So I don't know if you were like really thinking that we went a long time without seeing each other, but sometimes we don't. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna even make a difference, but more the merrier.
Yeah.
And since we don't have an entire crew coming up with content ideas, I think that we are justified in once a week, at least starting out.
Oh yeah.
Maybe further down the line, things pick up. I was thinking today, what would you do like if because a lot of these podcasts is not that we're doing this to make money, but a lot of them that do make money, they will do shows out places.
Yeah.
They will talk about whatever, but they will do it in a venue of some kind.
Well, yeah, there's one of the radio morning shows I listen to does that quite a bit. They'll go and do live shows and basically do their show, but like at night.
Right on.
And then you hear it like the next morning because they do a live. It's live, and when they do it at night, it's like they record it and then play it like the next morning as a replacement because they're not on in their normal slot.
So is it like basically the same show?
Yeah, they do. They play trivia and do all their things, and they have all the same. It's the same vibe. It's just they have a live audience that laughs and does a bunch of stuff. It's like it's like listening to a sitcom. Almost,
right on.
Because it's pretty funny. And
I mean, that being said, every time a podcast I listen to does a live episode, I usually skip right by that because I hate most things live.
Yeah.
I hate when they read mail. Like, okay, it's one thing to read mail, like at the end of the episode or whatever, like, hey, we got some, great reviews, or we got this wrong, and you pointed it out. but when they devote a whole episode to
Oh
just
my
reading
God.
mail,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm out. I'm like,
Yeah.
go ahead and hit the check button on that one
Yep.
because you've been played already.
Yep.
So we will never do that here.
That's like even not to get off on a tangent because I know we got an outline, but like there's some TV shows that will do like a clip show, like Seinfeld. They did a couple of those, and I'm like, I've already seen all these. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
they're funny and yeah, they're all together, but nope, skip.
Yeah, and it's definitely bad these days because you're streaming something, you're binging something,
Yeah.
and then you get to that clip show and you're like, well, goddamn, I just saw this like 2 days ago.
Right?
I mean, it's not like this is reminding me of better times.
Yeah.
It's reminding me of Tuesday.
Yeah.
So it's way more. In fact, Seinfeld in general. I've got to the last episode on who knows what number rewatch this is, and I don't even really want to finish it.
Yeah.
Because it's just like
it's sad.
Yeah, like
this
like
is over.
I would rather just take it out of my watch feed or whatever, unended, so to
Right.
speak, because it's just like
it's in my watch it again, so
yeah,
it's
like
always there.
It could come up like as a jump back in type of thing or whatever, but
they're all so good. There's only like a handful of bad ones.
I can't really like name any of them offhand.
No, I can't either.
Like they just if like episode 12 was bad, then 10, 11, and 13 and 14 were good.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't really remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't okay. So we won't be doing episodes devoted completely to mail, and we won't be doing any clip episodes. So if you were worried, like, 'cause actually there's I was listening to the one podcast, I don't even remember the name, but they were in the TV show together, and now they do the podcast, and we talked about it. But they were out, and they do this regularly, but most of the time I catch it. But like a couple weeks ago, or I don't know, a couple episodes ago, they came on, and the whole time I was like, man, this sounds real familiar. And I was like, and it's cut up so weird, like, because I will skip all through the commercials.
Yeah.
So because even like you pay Spotify for the ability to skip through the commercials, they still
Right.
put them there.
Yeah.
You're not like missing out on the commercials if you were worried about that. But I got like basically right at the end. And then I was like, man, what is even the description here? Like they're talking about stupid stuff. And it was like the episode nobody asked for are clips of every time we talk about luggage.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, bro, like I just wasted an hour of my life.
Right.
Like, why did I not? What was I that high that I just didn't remember? Like, because it wasn't like, if you're watching a movie, you're like, this looks familiar, and then like everything else starts to fall in place.
Yeah.
But this one was like clips.
Hmm.
So I just start to be like, that sounds familiar, and then they
Yeah.
go to commercial and come back and they'd be talking about something else entirely.
Yeah. From
And
a different
so
show entirely, probably.
yeah. And so I was never like able to really get the time to to hone in, so to speak, on what was wrong.
Hmm.
So that was a lot of time wasted. But I mean, it's not like I do a lot with my life. Other than raise my wonderful son, which brings
That's
us
right.
into our, the point of our podcast, which is, dad stuff. And we're going to start out with our fatherly question.
Yeah.
Look for that to sound different in post edit. Not that you'll know what it sounds like before edit. So it may sound the same. I may just leave it alone, and you'll think like, well, God, what did it sound like before? But it didn't. It didn't sound like anything before. It sounded like that. So our first fatherly question of the day is something that was basically a driving force of the podcast. It's something that we really had on our minds when we were talking about doing this, which is the fact that for moms there are just a plethora
That's an understatement.
of resources for any facet of being a mom.
Yeah, or a woman.
Yeah, or a woman in general. And when it comes to being a dad and being a man, you're not given the same type of hand, I guess.
Yeah,
or
treatment.
Yeah, like you're looked at it. to act a certain way, and if you don't, then the problem's with you.
Yeah.
And I think that is it's certainly a stigma that needs to be erased, needs to be moved on from,
Yeah.
and hopefully we can do our little part in helping that today.
Yeah.
We usually try to stick to the humorous, but some of our topics are a little bit more serious, and this is
Yeah.
one of them. And
and I can honestly say it's something that I kind of struggled with at first, and from time to time still do. I mean,
yeah, I was gonna say, like
even almost 3 years in, there's still days where it's days that it's like a single day here and maybe a single day here. It's not all the time like it was at first when she was first born, but I've gotten progressively better. But there's some days, just like women go through, there are some days where I don't know what the hell's wrong with me, and but yeah, anyway.
well, I was just going to say that you specifically brought this topic to the work meeting, I guess, to the content meeting.
Yeah.
And even though I'm sure every man that might listen to this, or every father and maybe every man, would have to agree that help for us is kind of sparse.
Yeah.
And a lot of it just depends on you being tough.
Yeah.
And if you can't be tough like all the time, well, tough.
Yeah. You know, not to be mean, but you got yourself in this mess. Like,
yeah, I mean, like,
sort of, not mess isn't a bad thing, but you did this. You gotta nut up, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost expected that women are going to have a hard time.
Yeah.
So you put things out, you put out self-help books or whatever, like expecting an audience.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's like maybe it's the majority of men in America. I don't know. I'm not obviously you and I don't fall in that majority, but maybe the majority of men are just like, those people that are just, hey, we're men, and we wanted to put our dick in something, so be a man, and raise your son or daughter or what have you. And I understand, part of that. I need to stop saying so much, even though I say it like in regular life. When I say it in the podcast, it's always jarring to me. And then when I'm editing, I'm every other second, stop, highlight, delete.
Yeah.
3 seconds longer, stop. And now that we've gotten that out of the way, we can, touch back up on our main topic, our fatherly topic.
Yeah.
Did you?
We tend to stray, but we'll come back.
Yeah, we do try to
just hang with us.
As long as we remember, we always make our way back. I don't remember where we left off, but
just for giving an overview of the topic.
Yeah, like was there anything? I feel like this is something that it touches both of us, kind of close to home, and it's like maybe a topic that we would come back to more than once in a different form or fashion. We do try to make these questions different, but I think that if nothing else, I just wanted to just make known the fact that this is a problem.
Yeah.
That we as men,
I've gone through it and still do, like I said, not on the daily, but.
And I wish I could say like, what do you do? But like, I know if you're anything like me, you just deal.
Yeah, you just have to suck it up, really. I mean,
there's
really nothing.
Yeah,
it's hard to find stuff
you either find faith. I mean, find strength in your faith, or a philosophy that you follow, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Or you just deal with it.
Yeah.
And I know that personally, when I say deal with it, what I mean is clam up and get moody and don't say a lot for a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not
really good.
Yeah, that's not good. And but that's what I do.
Yeah,
and if there was something else, that I could turn to that other than this podcast right now that you're listening to on your own two ears at home or in your car or at work. Ignore work. Listen to the podcast. Listen to it again and again and again. Unless you're doing one of those things, uh, you don't have anything that's coming to mind right away. Um, so I think that maybe it could be like a segment or something where we, touch on, another facet of this topic.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's really, it's something that we could spend the entire time talking about.
Yeah, for sure. And multiple episodes probably in a
Yeah.
row talking about.
So I feel like maybe it would be better digested to, like you said, give the kind of broad overview today,
Yeah.
kind of place our opinions in the forefront,
Or maybe,
make it obvious where
yeah.
we're coming from, and then flesh it out maybe as time goes on, almost like a
Mhm.
special feature,
Yeah.
which that seems very um, very I don't academic for us, like a long-term science project or something. I don't,
Yeah.
but that's it's definitely an interest for both of us and something like I said and you did that we both have experience in. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that we'll be coming back to it, but without wasting more than 2/3 of our episode on it, we come to what is uh, a future a future segment, so for lack of a better phrase. We are young dads in terms of our children,
Yep.
and inexperienced dads in terms of what they've been through and what they've thrown at us. So with this show, we can only speak to a certain number of things with certainty,
Right.
and that leaves a lot of room to debate other things.
Yep.
And so in in the in terms of doing something like that, we've created a new episode or a new segment called uh what do you I don't know,
I don't know.
Future Dad.
Future Dad.
And future dad. I was trying to create some sort of weird echo effect. But yeah, that's it gives us a little bit of time in maybe each episode. We'll see how it goes. These things are always in flux.
Oh yeah.
To debate or discuss something that may or may not happen in the future. And to jump right in, our topic for this episode was spying. And I talked about this on another podcast I was on, and I fell on the opposite side of the other host in terms of my being pretty well against spying and him actively engaged in it.
Right.
He works from home, and so he would regularly look through whatever he felt he needed to look through.
Mm. Oh, you
And
mean like going through drawers and
yeah,
stuff? Oh.
drawers. He said
Oh.
that it was more.
I thought you meant just like peeking in on them, or
No, they're not. When they're gone. Yeah,
Oh.
like the he's going into. That's a good thing that you mentioned that, because if you were uh looking elsewhere, then everybody else listening was probably confused too. So let me clarify that he works from home, and when the kids were at work or school, he would go through their rooms and
Every
search.
day.
He didn't say every day. He did say on a regular basis though,
Mm.
and he didn't. I don't recall him saying that he found anything like that. Even like let's say you're putting laundry in there one time, and you sweep the sheet off the bed or something to make space, and underneath there is a giant crack pipe or something. That's
Yeah.
one thing.
Yeah.
Like that's the cause to
Yeah.
interrogate or investigate.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, there wasn't any like inciting episode, and
No probable cause.
yeah, he just something that he started doing
Hmm.
because he said that like if he was going to do your laundry and have to put your laundry in your room, that he was going to look around your room when he was in there. And that if he, found something or whatever, then, that completely justified things. And even if he didn't find something, that he still felt right in doing it.
Right.
So what do you say?
I mean, it's your house. They live there basically for free. I mean, you made them, but they don't, they didn't have a choice to be in this world. But still, that to me is their private space. Like, their room is not sacred, but it's their little space of your house. Like, yeah, you have a right to go in there and do pretty much whatever you want, but like I said, they like girls with their journals and diaries back in the day when I was growing up, even probably when you were too. Like, you don't go through their drawers and look for that, and go through it. Like, unless, like you said, you go to do their laundry or something, or they leave meth in their pocket while you're going through and doing their laundry or something like that, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute here. Then yeah, you have every right to, but you also need to confront that child and be like, look, I went through your room because I found that. You can't just do it. I think do it in secret. It's kind of, a little shady. But hey, I mean, everybody has different styles. I'm not bashing anybody because whatever works for you, man. Like, it's not something I'm gonna do unless something like what we're talking about, like having paraphernalia or something, drugs in their pocket or whatever. Be like, then I'm really gonna be like, hey, I'll probably sit the child down and be like, listen, what the hell's going on? Instead of flipping their room like a, warden at a jail or something. But, but it's funny you bring that up because my wife and I were talking just the other day, I think a couple nights ago, about, when we were growing up, we always behaved because we knew that our parents had eyes and ears everywhere. And like, if somebody saw us doing something, they would report back.
Oh, well, you lived in a really small town, though, didn't you?
Well, I did, where everybody knew everybody, but I guess my wife remembers doing that too. But yeah, for me, it was a lot worse because, like you said, everybody, and I just said everybody knows everybody, and you have a lot of family around. So if you were doing something shady, and they found out, your whole family knew that you were a piece of crap or whatever. But yeah, and we were talking about, we don't want to do that. I mean, we want to instill that in our daughter, and like, but not like follow them like an ex, like you're following an ex or something to the party or whatever. Like, one time, if they say, hey, we're going to so and so's house, one time we're gonna pop in and be like, hey, what you doing? Or, or if they say, what was the other example? I can't remember the other example she gave, but or one, like if they say. And that's one example, and then another time, oh, I'm going with so and so, and we're gonna go here and here, and then like tail them a little bit and follow them. And if they go, like her example was like, if they pull into McDonald's, just when they get home, be like, oh hey, so and just make it up, like so and so told me that they saw you at McDonald's. What'd you get to eat? Just casually, not like there's no harm in that question.
But like they're like, oh wow, they knew I was at McDonald's.
But yeah, just to be like, oh, mom and dad are watching. They do have people out there. I don't think there's any harm in that if you don't do it like constantly. But
well, I know that you can put
one
an
time
app on
just
the phone.
to not to put the fear into them, but kind of to put the fear into them. Be like, listen, don't be screwing around. Like, be a decent person. Like,
that gives me ideas.
Yeah.
See, we're both mechanics at one point in time.
Well,
so
yeah.
what you do is you install a hidden camera in the car.
Oh God.
And then
you might see things you don't want to see, though.
I mean, that's true, but if you see, like, if a dick comes out or something like that, you just fast forward.
Well, yeah.
So you don't like, you skip what you don't want to see. You know that it happened though, and that amounts to the same thing.
Well, yeah.
So as I was up, I don't know if I even said it out loud, but they do have an app where I don't know what it's called, Family Loves You or who knows, where you like know where everyone that's on the app is at all times.
Yeah, my wife was talking about when she gets old enough that she wants to have that, just not to spy or whatever, because I mean,
just for
you
safety.
have to, well, that too, but you have to strike fear. I believe you have to strike quote unquote fear, not literal fear, but like the fear that mom and dad know what I'm doing, or can find out what I'm doing very easily. So I need to be careful and behave and, be respectable. But you also need to give them, in my opinion, you need to give them a little leash too to have some fun and maybe have small consequences. Like if they go out and get drunk, like that was bad, but at least you got a ride home, or at least you called me, you didn't drive, or you didn't get in a car with somebody that was completely hammered and get in an accident and die, stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
you kind of need to be cool, but you need to be like, that's bad that you got hammered if they were underage or whatever, but I'm glad you called me. Don't be afraid to ever do that again if it happens, but
I have never gotten hammered and called anybody.
no, me neither. But that's besides the point. We need to teach our kids not to do what we did.
I was so drunk once that
I remember.
I went home.
I remember a story about you.
Oh, okay. Well, then I might not even remember that story because I was so drunk. But I remember there was one time where I left somewhere and just drove out to the country and then was like driving around.
Did you drive down 19?
No, this was in Elizabethton, so it would have
Okay.
been east side or somewhere over there. And at one point, I stopped in a old church parking lot and had to pee. And then I made it home, but I didn't feel like knocking on the door, so I just passed out in the car. And apparently, that's like if you don't take the keys out, like that's still DUI.
Yeah. If you're
So
in the driver's seat.
yeah, so I was lucky there. That's really the thing.
Well, you were at home though, right?
I was in the front yard. I literally like pulled into the front yard. I didn't even park on the street.
I mean, the car was off though, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't on.
No.
Not even in like accessory or anything.
No. I just I turned it off and
But
and
just left the keys in it.
yeah. Like, how
Did you
come-
get in trouble? Like, did you get?
No, my mom like came out
Oh.
like at 6 or 7 in the morning and like woke me up and was like, "You got to come inside. This is DUI or something or
Oh
whatever."
my god.
And one of the few cool things that she ever did. So yeah, that's where I learned that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why alcohol's bad.
Yeah.
Don't drink, kids.
No.
Like that's the devil's urine, and if you take too much in, it's gonna make you crazy, make you do things you would never do, say things you would never say.
Yeah.
That's not you. When you're guzzling at Satan's penis, that be smart. Just stick to marijuana. Which I don't know if you know this. Apparently that came about because they at the time, which I don't know how much different it is now, but at the time there was a lot of anti-Mexican racism,
Right.
and so they changed the name, just made up a name, marijuana, to replace cannabis because they wanted to tie marijuana to the Mexicans. And if you hate Mexicans, you hate marijuana, and vice versa. So
It's like Tijuana, kind of. Now that you say that.
yeah.
Tijuana
It's probably like that is
marijuana.
probably something like
Yeah.
that they had it like
In
that
the,
probably
in
was
the
part of
meeting,
it.
like, hey, Tijuana.
Yeah, I heard a lot of drugs coming through Tijuana.
Yeah.
So, but like we can't name it Tijuana. So, what about Juana? Juana. What about? We've got to add something to that though. I'm not getting into it.
Mary, give me some coffee.
Yeah, Mary.
Marijuana.
Hey,
Anyway.
is that secretary still out there? Hey, Mary. Yeah. So, anyways, the more you know, and knowing is half the battle, and all that stuff. And with that, I see that we've actually come up here to where we typically like to stop. And given some of this will be edited out, I started the timer pretty well right when we started. So I think that we're going to call this one an episode. And we have, it's kind of like when I play D&D. There's always way more left over than I thought I was going to have.
Yeah.
I never think I have enough, and then it's always too
How it
much.
goes.
So
Well, we did kind of go off on a tangent.
yeah. Well, at the same time, though, I don't want us to feel tied to
No.
anything.
No.
This is a loosey goosey show.
Yeah.
We want you to feel freewheeling and
Fancy free.
yeah. Is that the same? Is that how it goes together? I don't know.
I don't know. Something
Footloose and fancy free.
Footloose. Yeah, there we go. Footloose.
And
Lazy River.
and as we said, things change
Yeah.
from nearly from episode to episode. We're still finding our footing.
Yep.
And we've podcasted before, but we've not done this podcast before for very long, anyways.
Yep.
So grow with us, learn with us, and then if there's something we do that you like, then write in, let us know. There's surely some way somewhere that you can leave a rating somewhere that we are. I know you can't like leave comments on Spotify, which I'm all right with, whatever.
That can be good or bad.
Yeah, like that could be. I was just say that could be good or bad. But at the same time, like we can't say, "Hey, leave us a comment and tell us what you want" on the most populous streaming service in the world.
Yeah.
Um, but I think on other podcasts, you're able to like write in somewhere. So
Yeah, somewhere.
write in somewhere.
Wherever you can.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out.
Wherever you heard about this, if you heard about this on Facebook, write the person that shared it.
Yeah.
And then it'll get back eventually. And if you're cool, I'll write you back. Maybe we can go out to the moon tower. But
Party at the moon tower?
that'll just depend on how cool you are. But with that being said, this is the end for us. This is the end. Beautiful friend. All right, this is Corey.
I'm Dan.
You guys take it easy. Take you later.